Greetings and welcome to the Healthy Sales Chick Show. I am Nancy White, the host of this show, and we're here to talk about our healthy mind, our body, and our spirit. And we need to nurture all three every single day, or one of those areas is going to start letting us know about it. And as my dear friend Paula Fellingham, the founder of Win Win Women TV, always says, we welcome you with open arms and open hearts. We love talking about those healthy cells, again, from head to toe, but also everything that we do affects our mind, our body, and our spirit. And I have a beautiful, beautiful woman. And yes, she has got beautiful pink hair tonight. So Fiona Demark is from Australia. And she is so unique and just such an inspiration. And I am so excited to be able to introduce you to her. And we're going to have the best conversation. So, welcome, Fiona. I'm so grateful that you're here with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I want to just share a little bit about this amazing woman. And she is an inspirational speaker and a resilience coach. You haven't heard about too many of those in our lifetimes, but boy, this woman has earned this title, and she has earned by helping others to go through and become more resilient and also inspired. So she is the world's only adventure seeking social worker, pole dancing, blind woman, and prospector of your unique gifts. So, yes, we're going to have a great time talking together. Our topics tonight, we're going to talk about resilience, overcoming obstacles, and finding your unique gifts. She helps people who are stuck and frustrated with their lives and also how to create a new reality. She has been legally blind since birth and loves to share her story of resilience, positivity, and life achievements, and just really to inspire and to motivate others. Sometimes we talk about things and whine, but you know what? We really have no excuses sometimes. But she knows the importance of a positive mindset, that amazing computer, and a can do attitude. And this has helped Fiona overcome adversity and think outside the square. I love it. She's from Australia. We say box and she says square. So to think outside the square to achieve her dreams. And she has interest in natural therapies that has led her to study hypotherapy and Reiki, just to complement her skills that she has so naturally of coaching and social work. And after moving from the outback to the city to complete her social work studies at university, Fiona has worked with a range of people to support her clients through significant life changes. We all go through them, and we all need a Fiona to be there. But she is a proud mother of two teenage daughters we were just talking about a few minutes ago, works a full time job at the Department of Transportation, manages her own business, and I have to just tell you, she just finished her book and she's also going to university again. But this is Fiona also knows how to enjoy life. She loves adventure, often being a pillion passenger on her husband's motorcycle, riding around Phillip Island, and she will tell us more about that maybe. She lives her life focusing on her main four senses that now work more efficiently. If Fiona could see, she says, I love the smell of rain, clean clothes, and the bookstore. I loved reading this about her. Yes, she goes to bookstores and smells the books, even though she uses audio and ebooks to read. And something that Fiona also loves to do is that she loves really incorporating joy and happiness not only in her life, but also bringing that to others. So, with that being said, she never says no to a challenge, but I have to ask her, Fiona, with all the things that you have gone through in your life, what was it and what has brought you to this very moment and that you're using your gifts and talents to serve others in this industry?
Um, it has been a long journey and it hasn't always been an easy one. I'm here in a great place now, But especially as a teenager, there was a lot of sorting out to do. There was a lot of identity crisis that happened. And we all have that as teenagers, I think. But when you add the complexity of having a disability, it also meant that I had to, really adjust what my thoughts may be for the future. And I grew up in a town that was quite remote. So it wasn't a small town. It had about 20,000 people. So it was reasonable size, but our closest capital city, where there were any real resources, was about 5 hours drive away. So
Mm.
having said that, it was a case of working with what I had and working out the things that I didn't have. I had to then sort of, come up with a different solution. And that was sort of some of the things that got me to where I am today because it made me persistent. Some may call it stubborn, but I like the word persistent.
Oh, I
And
use the word tenacity too, so yes.
And so, yeah, it was just building upon, okay, well, what are the things that I love? But then how is that going to fit into some kind of reality? When I was little, I wanted to be an English cop. Now there's two problems with that. A, I'm not English, and B, being a policeman when you're blind is sort of not really going to happen either. So sometimes it is about having those reality checks and saying, okay, well, what is going to work for me and what isn't? But then when you find that path in life, to follow it with everything that you have, and that's what I did. I realized that my own situation and experiences gave me a capacity to think about the world differently. And if I could use those skills to then help other people, then that was what I was. In some ways, I think that's why I was given my disability, is that it's given me that different perspective to help other people, and so that's the path that I followed.
Wow, I love, when you were talking about you had this goal and dream, and then you realized, maybe not. So then that way you had to go back. And when you talk about, creating a life that you long for, how did that change come over, and what did you start longing for? Um, and was that just something that changed over the years, or was that something that you just decided and you continually had that as your goal, and your purpose that you're continually, I'm sure, working towards?
I think there was a couple of major things. So one of them was realizing sort of, I got to that place where I did hit rock bottom and I
Mm,
went, well, I can't stay here. I need to work out where I need to go from there.
mhm.
And there was a conversation that was had with one of my school teachers, and they asked the question about, the possibility of the information that I was seeking, was it going to help me or was it going to help other people? And I said, you know what? Like, it's a little bit of both. But it just built that little spark inside of me to say, well, I do have the capacity to use my own things to help other people. And then I had the opportunity when I was about 15 to attend a recreational camp for other kids in my age bracket that were also either blind or had low vision. And at that time, my eyesight hadn't deteriorated to the point that it is today. And so I was actually one of the kids at this camp that could see, potentially better than some of the others. And all of a sudden, I seen these people that had just this capacity to live life, and they were walking around using their mobility devices, and just their disability wasn't impacting what they wanted to do. And I just thought, you know what, it doesn't have to. And that was that moment where I went, whatever my dreams are, I can actually make them happen. And my disability doesn't have to predict that I'm going to stay on a welfare payment and not have a job and do all the things that people kind of expected would happen. And so again, it's like once I get something into my head, it's like, okay, well, how does that then turn into a reality?
Mhm.
And so I then start working at all of those little steps along the way to say, okay, well, today I'm going to do this, and this might not be a huge thing, but it's going to get me towards that final destination of that goal that I really want to get.
Wow, that is so encouraging because for even for myself too, Fiona, it's just like you have that goal and then you have to reverse engineer it, and you
Mm.
go all the way back to, okay, now what is the very next step? And so you have to just, and you were talking a little bit about all the different steps and things that you were doing in some of your new studies now. And It is, and sometimes as we're going through that, have you learned over the years too that you can ask for some assistance and also accept it? Because a lot of women is like, I can do it myself. Thank you very much, stop or whatever. But I have learned, somebody asked me, I was being interviewed years ago. They said, what would you have done differently, in your entrepreneurial journey? And Fiona, I didn't have to think very long. I said, I would have asked for help and I would have accepted it. And so, because
Yeah.
I was raised, with three brothers, and I used to tell them, I said, I'm the boss of me. You're not the boss of me. And so and I used to say, "It's not being stubborn, it is that tenacity." Well, it was being stubborn a lot of times, but but it so have you felt, even going back, reflecting over, some of the journeys and the things that you've done, was it challenging for you to be able to ask for assistance or ask for some guidance?
Absolutely. So, and it comes from a twofold thing. So one of the things is that I didn't have a lot of supports when I was young.
Mhm,
It was very much a sort of pull your socks up, get on with life, and work it out for yourself. And so it made me very independent. And so straight away that built that independent streak where it was like, well, I don't want to ask for help. The
mhm,
other thing is that, and it kind of goes hand in hand with that in some ways, is that I was always, I guess, expected to fit in. And so to try and be like everybody else. And of course, I've got a significant disability. Like the reality is that I can't always do what everybody else does. But that asking for help, especially when it was like, for things when I was younger at school, or, even when I moved out of home by myself and moved to the city, to ask for help seemed like, okay, well, I'm only asking for help because I've got a disability. No, I shouldn't do that. I should just be like everybody else. And it's only been in the last few years that I've really embraced my disability and said, you know what? It is different and it is unique to me. And it's like, I don't know, being embarrassed about the fact that you're tall or short or whatever. It's not something that you can change. It's something that you just have to embrace as part of who you are. And as soon as I did that, that asking for help became so much easier. But it
mm,
is still something that is really, I have to be conscious of it.
mm.
And just simple things like, if I want something off the top shelf of the cupboard, I'll wander off and go and get the little step stool thing because I am quite short. I'll go and get the little step stool and go and put it down, climb up. And my husband's like, you could have just asked me, because he's got, he's quite tall, he's got long arms, and so, he could have just reached whatever it was down out of the cupboard much faster, but it's one of those things that I'm just like, "Nope." Like, the initial reaction is to just kind of do it myself.
Well, and I'll tell you something, another lesson that then we're always learning life lessons, Fiona. We'll never stop. And so years ago too, this very wise woman, a mentor, she told me, she says, Nancy, when somebody comes and offers to help you or you're doing something and it's really not all your talent or gifting. And she said, when you put your hand up and you say, no, I got it, or no, thank you, she said, you're taking a blessing away from somebody else that can use their gifts and talents a lot better
Mhm.
than you can. And so you have to be able to receive and, zip it. And
Yeah.
so there's that, pride, whatever people want to call it, just you have to be able to let other people in and using what they have greatness and expertise at. So when you were
And,
talking,
how good do you feel when you're the person that has done that? Like, it makes your day when you get to help somebody. It's like, wow, I helped them. I feel great now. And so you're right. You are taking that opportunity away from somebody when you tell them no.
I know. And so, and again, some women that we have tenacity, have a hard time, receiving and saying, or even asking, do you know somebody, or have you used something, or have you done this before? And because it can save a lot of time, money, energy, heartache,
Mhm.
just by leveraging other people's knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, Fiona. So
Yeah,
when you were talking
absolutely.
about, the im that the impact of your own self-perception is sort of like what we're talking about right now. um, how does that affect, your quality of life? I mean, your own self-perception, I mean, that could be really way off track or it could be right on track.
Yeah. And that self-perception is all about how you are potentially measuring yourself up against others. And that
Right.
old saying is, comparison is the thief of happiness. And it's so true in the sense that the more you compare yourself to everybody else, everyone has a different path in life. Everyone has those unique gifts and skills and things that make them wonderful. And if you're always comparing yourself to somebody else, I mean, everyone's journey is different. And, there's nothing wrong with looking at somebody and saying, okay, well, you're where I want to be. How did you get there? And kind of modeling that same experience in some ways. But when you start comparing yourself and putting yourself down with all of that negative talk and saying, oh, well, look at them, they're amazing, and I won't ever be able to achieve that, then that's where it starts to get a bit icky and you sort of then start to question, well, what's my value? And so to really remember to go back and say, you know what? This is my journey and I'm doing the best I can with the resources that I have right now. And yes, there may be places that I want to be in the future, but right now this is my spot. And to actually just bask in that and be happy and instead of so often we are all about the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And look, I'm the world's biggest culprit for that. I'm always busy doing things. And sometimes it is that you just need to take a breath and stop and smell the roses and just take it easy and be grateful for what you've got right now.
Absolutely, and just even telling yourself. I mean, we talk to ourselves all the time, anyways. All you gotta do is be quiet for a minute, and you'll hear it. It's like, and it takes
Mm.
it takes 7 positives to overcome every one negative. We either
Mhm.
speak to ourselves or somebody speaks to us. But we can always just say, you know what? There is only one of me, and I am the best me there is.
Yeah.
And just, enjoy just loving and being who you are and that you're different. And, it's a lot of, just like you said, the fastest way to disappointment, especially for women, is to start comparing yourself. But
Mhm.
there is great wisdom in what you said too, as far as seeing and modeling and going through some things that other women have had their journey, and you have no clue what their life has gone on, up and down, back and forth, what they've
Mhm.
what they've overcome, and
That's
to
right.
be able to get to their place where they are now. So,
Yeah.
um,
And social media is a perfect example of that. Like we see the lovely stories, the successes, the I'm here and I'm doing this, look at me smiling. And
mm,
none of us feel like posting on social media on the day that we feel rubbish and we've sat in bed and we've decided to pull the doon over our head and just sort of, read a book or watch TV all day because we needed it. Like that's not the things that people tend to broadcast. We only ever get to see that happy side of things. And, everybody has that downside. I mean, you can even look at the huge celebrities. I mean, someone like Beyonce or Taylor Swift or whatever. Taylor Swift has just been out here on tour. So everything in Australia right now is Taylor Swift. And you just think, you only see that tiny little piece of somebody. You don't get to see what their real life is like. And they're doing the same things that we all are behind the scenes as well. And, they've got struggles. They may be different to ours, but they've certainly still got things that they're negotiating.
absolutely, because they're human, and
Mhm.
human beings have all those um, things that for their emotions. I mean, you cannot. Women are great at stuffing their emotions, anyways, and so but we have to be able to find those ways to be released and healthy and to be growing and, give yourself a break. And also, women don't celebrate. We get something done and we're off to the next exciting
Mhm.
episode. And I'm sitting there going, whoa, just stop for a moment and pat yourself on the back. Do a fun little jig, whatever you want to do. Go take a bubble bath. You got to get clean anyways, and put a candle on and just, have a celebration of just, the things that you accomplish. And
Mm.
sometimes, Fiona, it's just getting through the day.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. And having that way of actually mindfully doing it. And so, I've started doing at the end of the day, like this little, your little gratitude journal. So at the end of the day, my 3 things that I'm grateful for. And it really does change your mindset, and it makes you really consciously, okay, well, today maybe I didn't do that much. Then, for me, sometimes I am just working from home and doing the things and I haven't really been out and done a lot. But then when I take that moment to reflect at the end of the day, I think actually, I have achieved a lot today. And there is a lot to be grateful even in those really simple everyday activities that you do, like, there's a lot to sort of, celebrate in that even.
Absolutely. And but I would love just to get your interpretation on because the topic that we were talking about, I just love asking, my guest, what is it that you're hearing? What is it that that you're addressing? And we're going to talk before we get finished too about how you work with your beautiful clients. But when you talked about your authority to live a blissful life, some people are sitting there thinking, that's not even on my bucket list or on my wish list or whatever. So when you talk about a blissful life, is that different for every single person, or what kind of framing or mindset is that?
It is definitely different for every person, and it depends on where your starting point is. And so if you're in one of those places that you're really struggling and everything seems like it's extra tricky, then going, "Ta-da! Your life is gonna be fantastic and be positive and blah, blah, blah," all of a sudden, like, I mean, you're not going to have that, unicorns and rainbows and sparkles kind of thing straight away. It's not gonna happen. And so it's about, again, going back to that place of reality and saying,
Mhm.
okay, well, where can I be? And even if it is that you want to be that super positive thing in the end, where can I be right now that is a little bit better than where I am at the moment? And so just taking that baby step and having those things in place, I think is really, really important to know that you've got a little bit of a toolkit, I guess, in the sense of, what is it that I can go to that when I'm in that little place of a slump and I feel terrible, what's going to snap me out of it? What are the things that give me energy? And so for some people, it might be exercise. You might want to go to the gym. You might want to go for a run outside. You might just want to go for a walk in the park. You might want to read a book or watch a movie or call a friend that always makes you laugh, listening to music, writing in a journal. There's a whole big list of opportunities of things that you can do that potentially will help you get out of that place. And sometimes it's literally just changing your scene. If you're feeling miserable, like, go for a walk outside or go for a drive in the car. And even if you're just wandering around the local shopping center, just having a look at what other people are up to, it's that change of space, that differentiation from where you are now to another place is actually sometimes even just enough to make that shift. And so once you've got that toolkit, whenever you go into that place where you're struggling, then you can go, okay, well, I know the things that will give me energy. Let's actually go and do one of those.
I love it. When you discovered, I know I had a coach that she was talking to me. She goes, I want you to go do something for you. And I said, well, I'm going to go have a massage. She goes, no, I want you to go do something for you. And
Mhm.
she told me, she said, go sit out by a tree and go get grounded. Just do it because you're the one that is in charge of it and you are doing it. So
Yes.
with that being said, too, Fiona, what would somebody expect when they're going to work with you? I mean, and to help. And I love how you talked about the toolbox and the tool things because I really believe that you're an incredible person that teaches and guides people how, again, they can use these tools and these ways of counterbalancing, but also uplifting themselves over and over and over again because it's not a once and done.
No. Because we're always faced with challenges. I mean, today everything's fine. Tomorrow, you might be facing some kind of catastrophe. We never know. And
Mhm.
so it's about knowing that you've been resilient, you've gotten through things in the past. All of us have achieved something that we didn't think that we could. And so when you look back and go, okay, well, what did I use to get through that?
Mhm.
And you see that silver lining in that cloud, and even though the experience may have been terrible, we all get something out of every experience that we have, regardless of whether it's positive or negative experience. There's something that comes from it. It's a learning and it's a growth. And so it's about working out, okay, well, you know, what is it that are those things that are going to work for me? And I think one of the main things that I focus on with clients is moving forward,
Mm.
letting go of the past. Like, the past is the past, it's done. And ideally, it's nice to forgive yourself and forgive the others that you're holding onto angst and worry about. But if you can't do that, that's perfectly okay. You don't necessarily need to do that right now. What it's about is saying, okay, well, they're things that have brought you to where you are today, and that's important in the sense that it's made you who you are. But the future is out in front of you, and it is totally your choice as to how you make that future happen. And it kind of blows your mind a little bit in the sense that we think about, oh, well, life happens to us sometimes. What we do have always is the sense of control over the way that we react.
Mhm.
And so, one person can react in one way and someone else can react in a totally different way to the same situation. And it is literally a choice that we make.
Absolutely, and for even myself too, I can say, well, how long do I want to stay bent out of shape about this? You know,
Mm.
how long do you want to stay aggravated about this? How long do you want to carry this? And
And and it's perfectly fine to do it. Like, if you like, I'm angry about something,
mhm,
then it's like, okay, well, I can be angry for 5 minutes, half an
mhm,
hour, an hour. Okay. Well, now what's that anger achieving? Okay, well, now I feel better because I was angry, but now I've got to go to wherever that next step is. And so to consciously say, okay, stop being angry and
mhm,
actually now let's start doing something about
mhm.
whatever that situation was.
It is. Anything that we, again, have control over, then we get to make those choices. And then the things that we don't have, we can learn how to be in our bless and release it. And sometimes we need help with both of those things. It's easier said than done for a
Mm,
lot of people that have had some really deep hurts and some rejections and some different things or abuses and all those things. But, that's why we're here together, Fiona. There's you know, more than just us sitting here all by ourselves. So with us, helping each other to get to the next step, get through the whatever it is, and then go through a healing process too. Some people don't realize when you're releasing things, you're going to be releasing and it's not all going to be pleasant, but then you have to fill things back in, what you have let
mm.
go of. And so I knew our time was going to fly like crazy when we started talking too. So Fiona, tell us some things. Tell me, I want to hear about the title of your new book is
It doesn't actually have a title yet. I
okay.
have really struggled with a title that is going to be suitable for what it is, and
Okay.
so the book exists, but the title doesn't at the
Well,
moment.
then that's a
So,
great
yeah.
mystery. We'll have you back because when the mystery is solved,
Yeah.
talk
I'll be
about it.
able to, wave it around and show you and went, "Oh, this is what we decided on for the title."
That's amazing. So, well, what are some tips or anything else that you would love to leave with the audience, especially when it comes to, I love being practical. So when, life is getting ready to change and when it always is, but what are some things that you have shared with your clients that really helps them just to be able to be more in charge of themselves, the boss of me? So,
Yep. First thing is be kind to yourself. Stop, that all of the negative talk, like,
mm,
literally catch it and stop it and replace it with something that is positive. And, it's really hard to do at the beginning because quite often we don't even realize that we're doing it. But, all of that negative talk tends to fall into three categories: about being unworthy, about being unlovable, or about not belonging. And
mm,
so as soon as you catch yourself thinking any of those things, it's like, nope, how real is that? And actually doing that reality check and then saying, okay, well, realistically, that's not true. It's just a thought and I can change it.
I
So that's the
love that.
first thing.
Mm,
Second thing is to really I mean, I love goal setting. I think it's really important. I think it's very easy to just take each day as it comes. And some people are like, oh, like, yeah, I'm a free spirit, just do whatever happens. And I think that's fine. And for some people that really works. But for most of us, I think we have to be really mindful of the fact that, if we don't have something that we are working towards, we end up just doing the same things again and then getting sort of miserable because life is not going anywhere. So to actually have those goals and then to set yourself little tasks every day. I've actually started writing down in the mornings 3 things that
mm,
I will do every day. And yeah, sometimes I get through the 3 things, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I have to transfer one of those things to the next day. But I find, and maybe it's just my personality, that by the time you're getting towards the end of your day, if you've not done those 3 things and there's one thing left on that list and you're like, "Oh, will I sit down and just watch some TV or will I actually go and do that other thing?" You feel provoked in some way to cross it off the list. And
mhm.
so it keeps you motivated by the fact that you've actually written it down and therefore you find yourself accountable to it.
Absolutely. So, what is the easiest way for people to get in touch with you, Fiona?
Easiest way, look, I'm all over the social media. I have a website, so fionademark.com.au, or you can just plug my name into Facebook,
Mhm.
TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn. I'm everywhere. So
Oh,
easy to follow.
well, I am so grateful for your time and being an amazing guest. And I look forward to having you back sometime if you're open and your schedule permits. And so, thank you so much, Fiona, for our time together.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
And I want to encourage everyone, please check out the other Win Win Women TV shows. We have got great hosts about all kinds of topics. And so check it all out and get in touch with me, Nancy White, the Healthy Sales Chick. You can go to my website, and I would love to talk with you and celebrate the good things that you're doing for your healthy lifestyle. And if you need a little bit of tweaking, I promise you, I will be glad to give you some suggestions. So anytime, Fiona, again, I'm so grateful and I cannot wait. Stay tuned to hear that title of that book. Thank you.
Thank you.
The host has stopped broadcasting the meeting on custom live streaming service.